Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this morning's headlines. Government pushing for constitutional amendment in budget session to increase women's reservation in panchayat bodies from 33% to 50%. All 10 army personnel trapped in Siachen glacier fear dead Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Congress President Sonia Gandhi extend condolences. Team of senior MEA officials and Tanzanian High Commissioner to travel to Bengaluru following attack on Tanzanian woman. Karnataka government denies racist overtones in attack. United Nations panel to formally rule that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has been arbitrarily detained in London. UK says he will be arrested if he steps out of the Ecuadorian embassy, where he has sought refuge since 2012. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate the 12th South Asian Games in Guwahati today. Over 2,500 athletes from 8 SAARC nations to participate in the 12-day event. Well, Union Minister of Rural Development, Panchayati Raj Chaudhry Birendra Singh has said that the Narendra Modi government will push for constitutional amendment in the budget session of Parliament for increasing reservation for women in panchayat bodies from 33% to 50%. Addressing a national workshop on implementation of Panchayats Extension to Scheduled Areas Act, Singh said reservation for women in panchayats will facilitate more women to enter public sphere and will strengthen the country's parliamentary democracy at the grassroots level. Singh also expressed hope that all political parties will extend support in the passage of the amendment.
हम ये भी अमेंडमेंट लेके आ रहे हैं पंचायती राज के माध्यम से कि महिलाओं का आरक्षण जो अब 33% है वो 50% हो। ये वैसे तो राज्यों का अपना अधिकार है, कई राज्यों ने किया भी है, लेकिन हम ये चाहते हैं कि सारे देश में ये हो।
Well, the Karnataka government has contradicted news reports that a Tanzanian woman was allegedly stripped and paraded by a mob in Bengaluru. The state even rules out that it was a racial attack, instead equating it with incidents of road rage. Amid the rising outrage, the centre has now sought a report on the incident from the Siddaramaiah government. A team of senior MEA officials as well as the Tanzanian High Commissioner to India will travel to Bengaluru today to take stock of the situation.
Amid outrage over the incident of assaulting and stripping of a Tanzanian woman, the Karnataka police arrested 5 people on Thursday. The state government too launched a damage control exercise to quell the political storm brewing over the incident. Karnataka Home Minister G. Parmeshwar refuted reports that the woman was stripped and paraded, even ruling out the possibility of it being a racist attack.
This is definitely not a racial attack. This is just a response to an accident caused by the Sudanese student. I don't think Bangalore has that kind of a mindset. I don't think Bangaloreans has got that kind of a mindset.
Many places it has happened like that. Whether Indian or not Indian, in any such accident cases, many places we have got records where people have reacted in a similar manner.
The centre has sought a report from the Karnataka government on the incident with details of action taken against the perpetrators.
First of all, if an incident of this kind takes place, we have to condemn it. We should not try to defend it, first of all. Whether it's a racist attack, whether stripped or not, these are matters to be investigated by the officials when they are being asked to do it. Police is supposed to act suo motu in this kind of serious incidents.
Tanzania too has written to India urging strict action. Tanzanian High Commissioner John Kijazi alleges the woman and her friends were attacked simply because they were black.
There is an element of mob justice, but there is an element of racism. Because if we are in the spot of the accident, someone passes beyond that point, and you are sure he was or she was not here, why should you go towards her and attack her? It's because she's black.
The Indian government has assured Tanzania of stringent action against the culprits. The incident occurred on Tuesday when the 21-year-old Tanzanian woman student was allegedly beaten up and stripped by a mob in a case of mistaken identity, after a woman was earlier mowed down by a car in Bengaluru. She was reportedly dragged out of the car she was seated in when she reached the accident spot, as she was mistaken for the Sudanese national who was involved in the fatal accident. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news now, all the 10 army personnel trapped under a snow after being hit by a massive avalanche in the Siachen Glacier have been reported dead. Specialized teams with modern equipment along with sniffer dogs were pressed into service yesterday, but all efforts to rescue them failed. The deadly avalanche had hit the post situated at 19,600 feet in the northern glacier sector in Ladakh region on Wednesday. 1 JCO and 9 Jawans were trapped under the snow. The army said that blocks of snow had fallen on the post, burying it very deep. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has termed the demise of the soldiers as very tragic. In a tweet, Modi saluted the brave soldiers who gave their lives to the nation. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar also expressed condolences to the families of the soldiers. Meanwhile, 3 unidentified militants were killed in a day-long gun battle between ultras and security forces in Bandipora district of Jammu and Kashmir on Thursday. 3 rifles and 1 under-barrel grenade launcher have been recovered from them. No army official has been killed or injured in the operation. The encounter started on Thursday morning after security forces launched a cordon and search operation at Kushi Mohalla in the district about 35 kilometers from Srinagar. 1 militant was killed in the gun battle by the afternoon.
सुबह से ही हम लोगों को सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस को इन्फॉर्मेशन था। यहाँ हाजिन का जो एक गांव है नॉर्थ कश्मीर में, वहाँ पे 2 टेररिस्ट के आने की खबर थी, क्योंकि काफ़ी दिनों से इनका मूवमेंट जो है वो हम लोग ट्रेस आउट कर रहे थे। इनको फॉलो करते हुए आज हमने इनको यहाँ पे कॉर्नर किया है एक घर में। अभी हमारा जो ऑपरेशन है वो चल रहा है। अभी सुबह से हमारा सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस और सारी जो लोकल आरआर यूनिट्स और सीआरपीएफ और हमारी लोकल जेएंडके पुलिस है वो इस काम पे लगी हुई है। अभी तक हमने 1 टेररिस्ट को न्यूट्रलाइज किया है।
Moving on to some overseas news now, Vice President Hamid Ansari asked the Indian community in Thailand to look at the new India and invest in its growing economy. Addressing a gathering of over 600 Indian nationals and Thai Indians at a reception hosted by the Indian ambassador, he said that the Indian community can contribute to the great efforts being made in India. On his 3-day visit to Thailand, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari also addressed students and faculty at the Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok. Welcoming the initiatives taken in increasing defence cooperation between the two countries, Ansari pointed out that there is tremendous potential to increase bilateral ties between the two countries in several spheres. He also emphasized the need to find effective ways to counter the menace of terror and extremism. Vice President Ansari will wrap up his visit to Thailand today.
My visit underscores the importance India attaches to Thailand as part of our increasing engagement with the region. Despite the large size and rapid growth of our economies, the trade and investment between Thailand and India remains modest. There is a need to synergize our efforts in the areas of economy and business to enhance and diversify our trade.
Well, even as the Vice President returns from Thailand, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on a day-long visit to pole-bound Assam today. He will first inaugurate the Assam gas cracker project of GAIL in Dibrugarh district at a public function. In 2007, former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had laid the foundation for the project, which is a joint venture between GAIL, Assam Government Oil India Limited and Numaligarh Refinery. Prime Minister Modi will then address the 85th convention of Srimanta Shankar Sangha, an influential and popular religious cult at Sivasagar. He will also attend a meeting of party workers at Moran Polo Club field before he heads to inaugurate the South Asian Games in Guwahati. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will begin a 2-day visit to Sri Lanka today. She will travel to Colombo, where she will hold talks with the top Sri Lankan leadership. The issues of fishermen and rights of minority Tamils are expected to figure prominently during the talks. This is her second visit to Sri Lanka within a year. Swaraj and her Lankan counterpart Mangala Samaravira will co-chair the 9th Joint Commission meeting. External Affairs spokesperson Vikas Swarup said that the discussions will cover the entire gamut of relationship pertaining to economic cooperation, trade, power and energy, maritime cooperation, social, cultural and educational matters and people-to-people contact. The last meeting of the Joint Commission was held in New Delhi in January 2013. Swaraj will also call on President Maithripala Sirisena, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and former President Chandrika Kumaratunga, besides meeting other top leaders. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In science, failures teach you sometimes as much as the successes do. There's no successful malarial vaccine. Correct. There are drugs to which the parasite becomes resistant. But the problem is why you don't have a vaccine, why you have resistance. The understanding of the molecular details help you address these issues they may take time, in a more efficient way.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Pushkar Sharma, scientist at National Institute of Immunology, on Rajya Sabha television.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley reiterated on Thursday that the GST would become a reality soon. He hoped that opposition parties would not scuttle the passage of the bill in the upcoming budget session of Parliament. Jaitley also asserted that the government is working on streamlining the direct taxation system in the country.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is confident that the Goods and Services Tax Bill would be passed in Rajya Sabha whenever it is put to vote. The Lok Sabha has already passed the Constitution Amendment Bill to implement GST, originally mooted by the UPA. GST, which is proposed to be implemented from April 1st, 2016, will subsume several state taxes and levies.
It's been cleared by one House of Parliament. It's being supported by almost most political parties, and I'm sure others will also see reason, and this law will become a reality very soon.
Jaitley also said the biggest challenge before the government is to re-establish credibility by maintaining stability in policy and consistency in action. The Finance Minister also said that ease of doing business has been ensured in the country, and after the government amended the arbitration law, India now has the fastest arbitration mechanism in the world.
And in order to establish the credibility of Indian economy, it was important that we not only reform, but we continue to reform only in one direction. Our decision-making becomes faster.
The Congress has put forth 3 demands for the passage of the bill. If the bill gets the nod of the upper house of Parliament in this budget session, then it needs to be ratified by 50% of the states. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
In some more economic news now, the International Monetary Fund has said that India is enjoying a robust growth. IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde has said that a new economic reality has slowly emerged as nations like India and Mexico have developed and grown richer. In an address at University of Maryland, Lagarde said, and I quote, "These countries are incredibly diverse culturally, geographically and even economically. Right now, for example, Brazil and Russia are in recession while India and Mexico are enjoying robust growth. So it would be a mistake to think of these countries as a homogeneous bloc," unquote. The IMF chief also said that China has embarked on an ambitious rebalancing of economy. Lagarde added that faced with modest growth prospects, advanced economies need to continue to support demand through accommodative monetary policies. But they should use a more balanced policy mix. Shifting focus now, the Supreme Court examining the powers of governors on Thursday took strong note of a submission that all decisions of the governor are not open to judicial review and said it cannot be a mute spectator when democratic processes are slaughtered. The remarks by a 5-judge constitution bench headed by Justice J.S. Kehar were made in the context of a group of BJP legislators from Arunachal Pradesh who contend that the decision on President's rule was cleared by the Governor J.P. Rajkawa and his decisions cannot be questioned because he has constitutional immunity. The bench has summoned for the details of correspondences of Arunachal Pradesh Assembly from October till February as it was not satisfied with documents produced by the Arunachal Assembly. Meanwhile, the Kerala Assembly session that is set to begin today is likely to be a stormy one over the solar and bar scams. The session is slated to have 14 sittings and it is important as this will be the last one before the state goes to polls later this year. The solar and bar bribery scams are likely to dominate the budget session with opposition LDF expected to turn up the heat on the ruling Congress-led UDF over fresh charges levelled against the Chief Minister and ministers. The LDF has decided to hold a march to the Secretariat on the first day of the session demanding the resignation of Chief Minister Oman Chandi. The state budget is set to be presented on February 12. Chief Minister Chandi has taken over the finance portfolio after Kerala Congress veteran KM Mani resigned following adverse remarks by the High Court in the bar bribery scam last year. The session is scheduled to end on February 25th. Here's a look at what's expected to make news during the course of the day today in our segment, The Day Ahead. Security has been beefed up in the East Godavari district in view of the Kapu leader Murugadda Padmanabhan's planned indefinite fast for inclusion of the community in the backward class category. Violence had erupted in the district last Sunday during Kapu Aikya Garjana, a meeting by Kapu community members who sought reservation under backward class category. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will hold a meeting of State Congress Committee presidents at the party headquarters in New Delhi today. Rahul is likely to discuss the future agitational agenda in states and urge the leaders to identify local issues and amplify prospects. The 2016 Auto Expo being held in Greater Noida will be thrown open to public today. Over 80 new models will be unveiled at the expo. An estimated 7 lakh visitors are expected to visit the auto show. The Supreme Court will hear the special leave petition filed by Maharashtra government against Salman Khan's acquittal in the 2002 hit-and-run case. The SLP contains 47 grounds to assail the Bombay High Court's verdict and sought restoration of the trial court's decision by which the 50-year-old actor was convicted and sentenced to 5-year jail term. Moving on to some international news now. United Nations panel will formally rule today that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has been arbitrarily detained in London. After the ruling, Assange wants his passport returned and his arrest warrant dropped. He had entered the Ecuadorian embassy in 2012 to avoid being extradited to Sweden over sexual assault allegations. However, British and Swedish governments say that the UN report was non-binding. Here's more.
Major relief for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. A United Nations panel has stated that he has been arbitrarily detained at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. The ruling by the United Nations Working Group will be formally communicated to Assange, giving much-needed boost to his fight against efforts to arrest and extradite him to Sweden. The Australian human rights campaigner was arrested in London in 2010 under a warrant issued by Sweden on charges of sexual assault and rape. After the report in his favour, Assange wants his passport returned and his arrest warrant dropped.
And of course he is expecting immediate reaction by the Swedish and UK government, the lifting of the arrest warrant, the UK will hand in his passport and he will have his liberty back.
Despite the UN findings, however, it is unlikely that Assange would be a free man. British government says UN findings are not legally binding and that Assange will be arrested if he steps outside the embassy, where he has been holed up for more than 3 years. The Swedish government also said it was a judicial matter and not one for the UN.
The Working Group on Arbitrary Detention is not a court. It is a body that was created by member states and by the Council on Human Rights to look into contentious cases of detention. Decisions are made, they are made on the basis of whether or not the detention is in contradiction with international human rights law.
Despite the non-binding nature of the UN report, it could exert pressure on Britain and Sweden to resolve the political impasse that has seen Assange trapped in the embassy for past 3.5 years. Assange has alleged that sexual assault charges were designed to pull him to Sweden so that he could then be extradited to the United States, where he could possibly face prosecution over his 2010 leaking classified material on the country's defense and intelligence. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Spain has confirmed that a pregnant woman has been diagnosed with the Zika virus, the first such case in Europe. The health ministry said that the woman had recently returned from Colombia, where it is believed she was infected. The Spanish health ministry said that the pregnant woman was diagnosed as having Zika in the northeastern Catalonia region, adding she is one of 7 cases in Spain and all are in good condition. However, the ministry sought to ease concerns, pointing out that all 7 patients had caught the disease while abroad. News of the virus first emerged in Brazil last year, and health authorities have warned the disease could infect up to 4 million people in the Americas and spread worldwide. Zika has been linked to babies being born with underdeveloped brains. WHO has declared the microcephaly condition linked to the mosquito-borne virus a global public health emergency. Experts are warning against viruses spread in Europe too.
The great pressure is about the capacity of the virus to disseminate through a vast territory. So it's a real concern. The concern is real, and then the dissemination of the disease here in this European territory. But we have an advantage here because we are in the winter, so the transmission is very improbable here in this moment.
Here's a roundup of the other international news in our World Wrap. US President Barack Obama has offered more than $450 million in aid to help Colombia implement the peace accord aimed at ending Latin America's longest war. The fight between the Colombian government and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia has killed more than 2 lakh people and displaced millions since it began in 1964. In addition, the US government also committed $33 million to a global program to help the country remove landmines. China will provide 1,000 tons of food aid to support Syrian refugees. China's foreign minister made the announcement on Thursday at the Supporting Syria and the Region conference in London. Wang Yi also called on the international community to make joint efforts in resolving the Syrian crisis. Greece came to a standstill on Thursday during the first 24-hour general strike of 2016. The strike was organized by labor unions in protest of the pension system reform that the government is currently discussing with lenders as a prerequisite for the disbursement of further loans to Athens. More than 60,000 protesters participated in the rallies. Some sports news now. The 12th South Asian Games will open in Guwahati today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the 12-day event at the Indira Gandhi Athletic Stadium in Assam's capital. The Games are being jointly hosted by Guwahati and Meghalaya's capital, Shillong. Over 2,500 athletes from 8 SAARC nations will take part in the event. After being postponed several times due to a variety of reasons, the event is happening after a delay of 4 years. India, which is hosting the event for the 3rd time, is expected to stamp their superiority in the regional spectacle. India had been at the top of the medal tally on all the 11 previous occasions. In the last edition of the Games held in 2010 in Dhaka, India had won 90 gold, 55 silver and 30 bronze. Here's a roundup of the other overnight sports news in our Sports Beat. Top Indian shuttlers Saina Nehwal and Parupalli Kashyap have been ruled out from the 12th South Asian Games due to injury concerns. Kashyap has been dogged by injuries in recent times, and with 12 weeks left to earn a berth for the Rio Olympics, the Indian shuttler is racing against time to be fit. Jwala Gutta has been confirmed as the captain of the Indian team. The Supreme Court has directed the cricket governing body in India, BCCI, to fall in line with recommendations of the Justice R.M. Lodha Committee, which has suggested massive restructuring of the cricket body. The Apex Court gave the board 4 weeks to respond on implementation of the committee's recommendations for restructuring of cricket body. Former Ferrari boss Luca Di Monticello has said that the latest news about the health of 7-time Formula One world champion Michael Schumacher is not good. The German is still receiving intensive treatment far from the public eye at his home in Switzerland following severe head injuries that he suffered in a skiing accident in France in December 2013. That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.